Deep in the forests of the Old World resides a rather unique sect of the Greenskin race. Here can be found the infamous forest goblins, a strange collection of tribes that developed quite differently from all the other types across the world. Due to the environment of the deep forest they came to inhabit, these goblins picked up many different practices, such as impaling feathers through their flesh, making equipment from bone, and riding giant spiders into battle. However, the most notable difference between the forest goblins and the rest of their kin would be that of gods. The goblins dwelling in the deep woods of the Old World have found a third god to worship alongside Gork and Mork. They gave rise to the Feaster from Beyond, the many-faceted eye being known to them as the Spider God. Long ago, after the demons of chaos were banished back to the void by the elves, the world slowly began to recover from the war. Thanks to the armies of chaos, the races of order had been pushed back to their final bastions, leaving the world largely quiet and empty. This allowed many races, such as the Beastmen and Greenskins, to expand over the world like a disease. During this time, many goblins wandered from the deep caves in the mountains out into the forests. Here, the goblins quickly began to fall prey to the giant spiders that roamed the trees. Over the course of decades, the goblins began to adjust to their new environment, adapting their customs in warfare to better suit the enclosed darkness beneath the canopy. These ancestors to the forest goblins learned that they could defeat the packs of giant spiders, eventually even dominating the creatures to use them as mounts. The goblins continued to master their art of battle, and started to push back even the occasional gigantic spider. Although it was possible to fend off these larger beasts, they proved difficult to kill and impossible to tame even for the strongest tribes, until at last the goblins managed to start capturing their broodlings. The young gigantic spiders were hand-fed and began being used as powerful mounts for the strongest of the goblin leaders. Despite these advances, however, the goblins stood no chance against the terrifying arachnophobia spiders. These titans were thankfully rare, as the appearance of one would always spell doom for entire tribes if they did not flee fast enough. Yet the goblins began to wonder that if these creatures could not be defeated, perhaps they could be appeased. This was when eight-legged totems began to appear around their camps, alongside those of Gork and Mork. The shamans of these tribes had recently discovered the hallucinogenic venom of various tiny spiders, and began to speak of the divine many eyes of the Feaster from Beyond. As they began encouraging small spiders to live in the nooks and crannies of their bodies, including their mouths, the shamans' tongues began to turn fat and purple due to all of the bites. They turned to worshipping this spider god, and soon their tribes began to follow suit. With this, the spider cult was born. Although Gork and Mork are still revered within the dark thickets of the forest, it wasn't long before the spider god reigned supreme. The forest goblin shamans led gruesome rituals in its name, and each tribe offers mighty sacrifices to appease its eternal hunger. This allowed the goblins to begin to live in harmony with the great arachnophobia spiders, as they worshipped the monstrous beings as living avatars of their venomous god. Each den of the arachnophobia came to be seen by the forest goblins as dark shrines to their new god. These places were worshipped and altars erected inside, out of the bones from the continuous sacrifices hurled screaming within to satisfy the Titan's hunger. The spider god was pleased mightily, and its shamans began to develop their own variant of the Greenskins' magic, tainted by the unholy power of the eight-legged deity. The most holy site to the spider god is a terrifying hellhole within the forests of the Empire, known as Black Pit. Also sometimes called the Valley of Many Eyes, It's a ways north of Altdorf and is surrounded entirely by endless webs and great 8-legged totems. To pass within the confines of this place is a guaranteed death, as it is the breeding place for the largest of spiders, and the forest goblins guard it like an unholy wooden fortress. Even villages built too near the Black Pit, or armies that march too close, will find themselves attacked by frenzied goblins riding atop hundreds of spiders. Far too many humans have tried to tame the surrounding forests, only to find themselves trapped within their towns by webs as thick as steel, in ominous foreboding of what will soon come to feed. The shadowy spider god also is active upon the battlefield through its great catchweb shrines. These altars to the feaster from beyond are built upon the backs of the mighty arachnophobia spiders, empowering the shamans brave enough to ride such creatures into battle by capturing the very winds of magic themselves. The power of such shrines makes forest goblin shamans terrifyingly powerful, charging them with enough magical energy to easily be the most powerful casters among all goblins. So much magical energy erupts from the arachnid will of the spider god that even nearby shamans are empowered to unleash more devastating spells. Truly, the worship of the forest goblins has made this otherworldly monster bloated with strength. When it comes to the active worship of the spider god, the forest goblins primarily rely upon live sacrifices made to the arachnophobia and bloody ceremonies. They also take great care to breed the many types of giant spiders, an important religious duty revolving around feeding and protecting the young broodlings. When a shaman wishes to commune with the many-faceted eyes of their god, the preferred method involves chewing on a number of the small purple skull-backed spiders. When consumed, the shaman would either die an agonizing death, or would enter such a state of shock that his mind would find a spiritual pathway to the great beyond. The convulsions caused by these hallucinating goblins hypnotizes the arachnophobia, and allows the shamans to somewhat communicate with their living avatars. With the spider god watching over his greenskin broodlings, truly, what hope does any other race have? Beware the dark trees of the forest, for its children are always skulking above, looking for prey. When it comes to the actual nature of the feaster from beyond, the spider god is likely a creation of the goblins, as the greenskin race seems to have an intrinsic understanding of the realm of chaos. By that meaning that their beliefs tend to radiate very strongly within the winds of magic, and create exceptionally powerful gods. Although much younger than Gork and Mork, the spider god is certainly no pushover, and is much more active with its followers than many gods in the Warhammer world. It is a deity to be feared. The 8-legged monster, the many-faceted eyes of the great feaster, are always watching, always waiting, for its time to skulk out of the forest and consume all. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the second video of the 7 Days of Lore, this time featuring none other than the spider god of the forest goblins. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. There's 5 more days of lore to go with all sorts of videos coming out. On top of that, we're going to have a couple more games being uploaded soon, Warhammer games, and hopefully some progress will be made in the area of putting up some content from some games. I was wondering, for those of you who make it to the end of this video, which is a pretty short one, so I imagine it will be most of you, how would y'all feel about... I have the ability to upload some games, but right now the content isn't flawless. It can be a little jumpy at times, though the audio seems to be just fine. So you might let me know down in the comment section below if you'd want to see a game that isn't extremely intensive on the graphics, like Mordheim City of the Damned or Blood Bowl 2. Something that could be played where I could talk about the lore and we could enjoy having a good let's play of a game. So let me know what you guys think about that. But in any event, Be sure to check out me on Twitter and Facebook, and like and follow on there if that's something you enjoy doing. That's where I'm getting into the habit of posting little hints about what's coming in the future, even the far future. So if you like to be on the up and up, or if you just want to shoot things my way, those are good pages to check out. Also, there's my Patreon banner, which you can just click on, which is essentially what the 7 Days of Lore is about, is giving back to you guys and also advertising the changes to the Patreon page to make it a bit more friendly towards my community, now that we have a community and we're building, and I'm learning what you guys like and what you guys want to see and how you want this channel to work in the future. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, feel free to wander over there and see if any of those different levels interest you. In any event, have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.